Hello everyone, welcome back to a new post today, and today we'll be discussing about India and Egypt. We all know that President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi, that is of Egypt, is here as a chief guest for the Republic Day celebrations, that is the 74th Republic Day celebrations. He is being invited as a chief guest, and recently India and Egypt have been growing their relationships from different areas, from economy to defense and now to security, counter-terrorism, and we already have a first bilateral army exercise going on in Jaisalmer. So let's take a quick roundup of what has been happening in between these two countries just from the 1 year or past 1.5 years and how they have been growing the relationship. So India and Egypt are the world's two oldest civilizations, and they have a history of very ancient times since the time of Ashoka. So we see Ashokan edicts are speaking about Ptolemy, and also in the modern times we have Mahatma Gandhi and Saad Zaghloul, who had the common goals of independence of their countries. Then that was bloomed into the non-alignment movement, where both India and Egypt are natural partners in this organization. Now, the Egyptian president Abdel Fattah El-Sisi has been invited as a chief guest for the 74th Republic Day celebrations in India. India is also eyeing to expand its ties with Egypt in defense, cybersecurity, and the focus is to boost ties with this emerging player in the Middle East North African region. India is also being seen as a key partner in this region. Now, Egypt's strategic location at the crossroads of Asia, Africa and Europe make it a very important player in the West Asia, and it is seen as a gateway to North Africa and the Mediterranean region. India now is emerging as a key partner to Egypt, and we see Egypt giving all the more importance to India. There are around 450 Indian companies in Egypt with a combined investment of over $3.15 billion. Now, despite their certain challenges in the economy of Egypt, it has been providing interesting economic opportunities in infrastructure, energy, as well as health to Indian companies. This is for the very first time, let me remind you, is that the president of an Arab Republic of Egypt is being invited as a chief guest on the Republic Day. Also, he is being accompanied by a strong contingent of 180 soldiers that will participate in the Republic Day parade, and this is a symbol of closer military ties. His visit is expected to deepen the time-tested relationship and partnership between the two countries. Now, previously, already President Sisi had visited India in October 2015 to attend the third India-Africa Forum Summit, and also in September 2016. India and Egypt, let me remind you, are celebrating 65 years of diplomatic relations this year. Egypt has also been invited as a guest country during India's presidency of the G20 in 2022 and 23. India and Egypt enjoy very warm, friendly relations which are marked by civilizational, cultural and economic linkages and deep-seated rooted people-to-people ties. The two countries are also working very closely on multilateral and international forums. So India and Egypt are likely to now to seal a dozen of agreements during the visit of President El-Sisi. So let's see what has been the nature of the relationships between these two countries during the last 1 year, and how they have been moving very close to each other, which is being evident in the behavior of one country towards the other. So if you see, 3 points stand out. First of all is the interest of Egypt to improve its ties in various other areas apart from economic ties, agriculture, etc. Now it's wanting to boost its military and defense ties with India. Egypt, number 2, Egypt has been showing a pragmatic diplomacy towards India, especially in midst of the Arab world, supporting India on important internal issues, and also expanding its economic cooperation even more in field of energy, green hydrogen, especially between India and Egypt. So let me discuss these 3 points with you in brief. So Egypt's pragmatic diplomacy has been seen in arenas such as the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, where Cairo has maintained a very cautious position whenever Pakistan has brought a resolution against India on the Kashmir issue. While the whole Arab world has spoken something or the other on those topics, but Cairo always stayed silent and chose to maintain silent when the whole Islamic world was criticizing India for its Kashmir issue and also taking sides towards Pakistan. The recent other issue where we see in Egypt showing a pragmatic approach and respecting India's internal matters was when the Islamic world in the West was criticizing the MP Nupur Sharma's comments on Islam. So at that time, even Kuwait also made its displeasure known to the Indian authorities, and President El-Sisi's government did not raise the issue in any significant manner. Egypt also studied this silence of Egypt helped India in this issue, as Cairo's voice in Islamic issues carries great weight. So many other countries also started to take sides of India on a gradual basis. Now let me tell you that Cairo or Egypt is actually having a very strong voice in between the midst of the Arab countries there. It hosts the Al-Azhar University, which is the oldest university in the world, and also it is the biggest center of Sunni religious scholarship. Pakistan has also floated several resolutions on Kashmir and other internal Indian issues in the last few years, but failed to receive the support of Mr. El-Sisi's government. So apart from growing accommodation of each other's political concerns, there is a deepening of other areas of contact and relationship between the two countries. Number two, if you see deepening of economic ties, Egypt has placed, when there was a Russia-Ukraine crisis, Egypt is the second largest importer of wheat actually from these two countries, and it faced a real large crisis with regard to agriculture imports from these two countries. It was at this time that India helped it with a 61,000 ton of wheat when we itself placed an embargo on the export of wheat. But India gave preference to Egypt and listens to its request by allowing an export of 61,000 tons wheat to the country to help it deal with the grain crisis that it faced in the face of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now, the visit also provides an opportunity to showcase the growing strength between two countries in the field of green hydrogen. At least 3 Indian companies are already investing several $billion in Egypt's green hydrogen projects. Egypt's infrastructure and health segments are also offering a vast interest to the Indian entities in Cairo by rolling out several major infrastructure projects. Now, Indian private and public sector major companies are eyeing Egypt's infrastructure projects in the Suez Canal economic zone and also the metro line in Alexandria. As we also all know that India had recently launched the National Mission on Green Hydrogen, where it sees itself to be a major exporter of green hydrogen. We are already in the process of setting up a $8 billion green hydrogen plant in the Suez Canal economic zone. And it is also learned that Apollo Hospital and Medanta have expressed interest to build health facilities in Egypt. There is further expansion of defense and security cooperation between the two countries. CC's trip is showing a lot of interest to procure military platforms from India, like the Light Combat Aircraft Tejas and also the Aakash missile, and some radars from India as well. So Indian defense equipment are being seen as an interest in Egypt. Also, last but not the least, the first ever joint exercise is now being conducted between the two countries, which is called as the exercise Cyclone 1, and it is already currently underway in Jodhpur. So Egypt has also invited India for a tri-service exercise in September this year. The exercise actually aims to bolster the defense cooperation between the two nations and focus on improving the professional skills and interoperability of the special forces in desert terrain, and also focusing on counter-terrorism, reconnaissance, raids and other special operations. So if you see the very close, in the span of just 1 year, especially during the Russia-Ukraine crisis and many things when Pakistan has raised the Kashmir issue, Nupur Sharma's issue, we have seen that Egypt has been standing very strong beside India. It also supports India's membership to the Security Council as a permanent member. Egypt is having a strong voice in the Arab world and stands strong to partner with India, and it shows its interest towards India with its actions. So we see that there is a lot of opportunity for both the countries to deepen their economic relations. India being a very viable partner for Egypt, and Egypt sees India as a growing partner in trade, defense, counter-terrorism, military ties, etc. And India views Egypt as a gateway not only to the Mediterranean region but to the whole of Africa. So I see these two countries growing on a major basis in many areas for the months to come, and I'm looking up to really good agreements during President Sisi's visit. I hope this content was really helpful to you all, and if you did like it, please comment, send me your comments, give me your suggestions, like, share and subscribe, and follow me for the updates on a day-to-day basis. I shall see you in my next post with another new topic of the day, and until then, it's happy learning. Bye-bye.